Hello all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in day 4 of Azure Storage Account series, today we are going to discuss about data redundancies in Azure Storage Account. So in simple words, data redundancy is generally called replication of your same data in multiple locations. So you will save your data, or you can basically get a benefit of high availability and disaster recovery. So there are few options which we get for data redundancy. The very first is LRS, which is called locally redundant storage. Then next we have ZRS, which is zone redundancy storage. And the third we have GRS, which is called geographical redundant storage. And three more we have, which we will discuss in coming slides. So let's start. So why data redundancy is important? So basically, as I told you, data redundancy means storing multiple copies of of the same data in multiple locations. So you will save your data from in case of any kind of failures. It could be hardware, it could be data center, it could be region failure, or it could be zone failure. So in all the scenarios, basically you are saving your data. So with the help of data redundancies, you are protecting your data and you are basically getting most of the uptime for your applications. Now let's see what all the types of redundancy we get in Azure Storage account. So in this particular slides, I will not go in details because in coming slides, I will explain each of the redundancy type in more detail. So the very first redundancy option we have here is locally redundant storage. So within a single data center, your data will be copied. Then we have zone redundant storage across multiple zones in the same region. Then we have geo-redundant storage. It means geographical your data will be copied like two regions, primary and secondary. And then we have RA-GRS, which is called read access geo-redundant storage. Then we have GRS, then we have RA-GRS. So all these redundancy options we will discuss in more detail. But if you want high availability and disaster recoveries, you can use RA-GZRS or GZRS or RA-GRS as well. Now let's understand in more details about all these redundancy options. So very first is locally redundant storage. So what happened in this redundancy type, your data will be replicated 3 times within a single Azure data center. So basically if you are using LRS, so you are protecting your data from any kind of hardware failure, but not against a data center failure. So within a single Azure data centers, all the 3 copies are located in the same physical locations. So if you are using LRS, definitely you will not get most of the benefits of redundancies, so the cost will be low. If you want to use LRS, you can use if you have non-critical workloads. For example, if you have temporary backups or if you have temporary logs, if you want to store, in that case you can use LRS. Or if you have cost sensitive application, like if you have limited budget of application, in that scenario also you can use locally redundant storage option. Now we have zone redundant storage. So what happens in zone redundant storage, so your data will be replicated synchronously across 3 Azure availability zone in the same Azure region. So data is instantly copied all the location at the same time, but there is no delay. Like as soon as you start storing your data, it will automatically start copying in all the 3 availability zone. So about what is availability zone basically? So availability zone is a physically separated location within the same Azure region. For example, in India we have Azure data centers. Let's take example of Delhi, Hyderabad, Bengaluru or Pune. So your data will be copied in all these 3 cities. So in case if your one of the data center is getting failed or is facing any kind of outage, then you are basically getting high availability for your application even if the any one of the data center is getting failed, because you can still utilize two more availability zone which is up and running. So this is beneficial if you have mission critical application that need high availability. So in that scenario you can use a zone redundant storage option. Then we have GRS, which is called Geo-Redundant Storage. So what happen in GRS? So your data will be replicated across two geographical separated region. For example, India and US. So the very first, as soon as you start copying your data, the primary region, it could be your India or any of the country you have chosen, the data will be starting copying immediately as soon as you start storing the data in a primary region. Then with some delay, which is called asynchronously, your data will start copying in the secondary region as well. So in case if your primary region is getting failed or is facing outage, then you have secondary region to access your data, but for that basically Microsoft needs to initiate a failover. You cannot do anything. So this is helpful for disaster recovery or compliance needs. The application needs a backup from a different region. Organization which required business continuity requirement, like organization wants the application should always up and running. In that case, you can use GRS. Then we have RA-GRS, which is called Read Access Geo-Redundant Storage. So this is same as Geo-Redundant Storage, but with read access to the secondary region. In GRS, Microsoft needs to initiate a failover, but here you will have read access on your secondary region as well. So in primary region, 3 copies of your data will be stored, and in secondary region again 3 more copies will be there. So you have total 6 copies of your data if you are using read access geo-redundant storage. So this is helpful if is there any plant maintenance or maybe something goes wrong with your primary region, then you can utilize this feature. Obviously, if you are using RA-GRS, then the cost will be high because you are storing your data in two separated geographical location. So this is ideal for if when your application need high availability during primary region failure, where read performance needs to be improved. Like if suppose is if your any of your application parts just only want to fetch the data, they don't want to do a read and write operation, they only want read operations. In that case, you can utilize this redundancy options. Then we have Geo-Zone-Redundant Storage, which is called GZRS. So this is the combination of ZRS, where you are protecting your application from zone level failure, and GRS, which is geographical redundant storage options. So this is the combination of high availability and disaster recovery both, because with the help of ZRS you are getting high availability in the case of zone failure, and if you and similarly for GRS you are getting high availability or for your application in case of primary region failure. So this is the combination of GRS and ZRS, and here you will get both the kind of protection, zone level and regional level. So this is ideal for business critical application then required maximum durability. The workload which you are putting that need both zone level failure and like basic they want to protect zone level and regional level, in that case you can use GZRS option. Then we have RA-GRS, which is called Read Access Geo-Zone-Redundant Storage. So this is again same as GZRS but with read access to the secondary region. So users can read the data from the secondary region even before failover. So here Microsoft will not initiate a failover. As soon as you see a outage in your primary region, you can start fetching data from the secondary region. So this is ideal if you want 90.9.99% of availability of your data, then you can utilize this redundancy options. Workloads where global read access is required, in that scenario also you can use RA-GRS options. And keeping service online during regional outage. So these are the scenarios where you can use read access Geo-Zone-Redundant Storage option. So this is the summary, like in which scenario we can use or Microsoft recommended to use the redundancy options. So if you have cost sensitive workload, you can utilize LRS. If you want high availability within a region, then you can use zone redundant storage. If you want disaster recovery with cross region backup, so you can use GRS, which is geographical redundancy storage, because here you will have your data in primary region and secondary region as well. Then we have read access GRS. This is ideal if you want read access during primary region failure. Then we have GZRS, so maximum resilience, like zone plus region protection, both you are getting if you are using GZRS option. And high availability and read access backups, so you can use read access Geo-Zone-Redundant Storage options. So these are the scenarios where you can choose what redundancy option is best for you. So that's all for today. See you next video. Thank you so much.